We got to do politics. Oh, hello, everyone. Welcome to Paranormal Talk. Y'all caught me talking with Mike about politics just before we came on.
Boop.
We're past due for some politics, actually, so that'll be coming up in the near future. It's just a matter of time before we get into it. Probably the problem is right now is I'm working a lot thanks to Hurricane Ida, so it's making me hard to schedule stuff. But I've been slowly but surely turning over aspects of the network to a host and stuff like that so they can do stuff. And we'll probably set somebody up to do these paranormal talks just to make sure they get their appearing every week like they're supposed to. Didn't even hit most of the invites tonight, so we'll see what's going on. It's been weird, people. It's been weird, and weird. Oh, I got your chair, don't I? It's been a strange thing lately here. For me, it's exceptionally weird because first we had Zach last year, Zeta last year, blew the top off my house, did all kind of damage, which still isn't repaired, by the way. Um, which my insurance company's bitching about already. And then, of course, we had Ida come through. But in between all of that, there were six other storms. So since this time, since August of last year, there have been seven storms that hit the Gulf Coast. Everything from a Category 1 to a Category 4. It's insane. And if this keeps up, I don't even know what people are going to do down here because I know my insurance company's already antsy. They're already calling me about all kind of shit. They want to make sure my roof is on my house. The weird part about that is here I was lucky. I found a roofer. He did it. It took him 3 weeks. I think it was 3 weeks before he came out, and I did the roof. They did a fabulous job. There are at least 10,000 roofs on the Gulf Coast that still have not been touched since October of last year, and they're not going to be done before the end of this year. It's just hard to get the insurance companies are having a hard time getting money out. And then on top of that, they're having a hard time finding a contractor, which I understand because right now I'm a premium little thing myself. Right now, Mama wants to be Joe's best friend at the moment. Oh, hey Joe, can you come here? We love you. Why don't you come stop by and see us? You know how that shit works out. But it's part of living down in the Gulf South, and I really love living here. It's just I was talking to my wife. I want to get my house back together. I want to get things going again, and I'm busy in New Orleans. And it looks like I'm gonna be busy in New Orleans throughout the end of the year. But on a side note, that is something that offers us, we're looking to set up a new FM channel that will help us to do so. No, I'm sorry about that, guys. That will actually help us to get the FM. Damn. Sorry.
Uh-oh. COVID-19.
I know, huh? Oh, man. That's another thing. We got to do it. We might, if I can get off early enough Wednesday. Oh, dude, we got to talk about all these doctors that just recently came out, all these nurses. What is that IV whatever drug? Oh my God, they are all over Biden. I'm sorry, guys, we're gonna get off this in just a second. But Mike and I haven't had a chance to catch up. We really are gonna have to talk about all of that because, whew, man.
There's a lot of stuff happening. That's for sure.
Yeah. Plus, we got pink shorts running rampant up there in I was going to say in Atlanta.
They have their election, right? Aren't they?
Yeah, I haven't heard what the final is yet, but I know I heard he wasn't going to get a majority, so we'll see how that goes. But anyway, for all y'all that tuned in for Paranormal Talk tonight, we're actually going to be talking about why do humans haunt? What is it? So, Mike, are you going to haunt when you die, or are you just going to move on?
I have a list of places I'm going to haunt. Are you kidding me? I'm going to have timeshares, man. Like, a little time here, a little time there.
That's good, man. That's probably
spread myself out. Well, I got sororities at Cornell. I got them all chosen, man. I don't know. I'm going to be a dirty old man ghost.
Uh-oh. Yo, you mean the kind that when when the mirror fogs up in the girl's bathroom, they can see a face in it?
Exactly. I'll be spending a lot of time in that bathroom.
I'm sorry, that was good. That was funny as hell. It's just, there's a lot of this going on, and I've been trying to get a points across to people that you can't get impatient, you can't get aggravated, so I get people driving me crazy in the UFO, people driving me crazy in the paranormal world, people driving me crazy in the radio world, and now I've got sets of people driving me crazy in the construction world, which, it's my job, and I don't really get angry with them. I like most of my customers. I think they're pretty good people for the most part. The current batch of customers I got, I'm really happy with them. They seem to be good fellows and good people. So, but it's a lot. And so the things that make me the craziest is why does it always seem so? I got 5 million things going on. Why does shit always seem to rain just before something big's going on in your life? I guess I'm gonna come back and haunt somebody because of that. I don't know who I'd haunt. Everybody I'd want to haunt now would be dead by the time I die. So I'm thinking, we got to rethink this. Hello, Bob. How you doing, man? I'm really serious. I mean, I got to rethink this. Who I'm going to haunt now? If
That's why I'm
Michelle's still
choosing
alive, I'm going to
place.
haunt her for sure.
I'm choosing place over people.
I'm going to show Michelle how a ghost should really haunt. So you can never get no sleep. She's like, wake up, Michelle, wake up. She'll be, get away, ghost. I'm like, send you to hell. Nope, I can't go to hell. Not that kind of ghost. I'm gonna have chains locked to the pole so I can't be sent anywhere. I'm gonna do some ghostly chain and stuff like that. Plus, you know how I love using that dimensional bleed through thing. Oh my god,
Oh
I
yeah.
love. I got. As a matter of fact, I was funny as hell today. I'm talking to a friend of mine, and he goes, "Don't start, don't start." I said, "Don't start with what?" I know you're just gonna say the dimensional bleed through. I said, "I don't think all ghosts are dimensional bleed through, just some." And he's like, "Why?" I said, "I just think some are." I said, "Sometimes it makes more sense when the person's giving me the description." I said, "But there's ghosties." I mean, I said, "I've been in the French Quarter. I've seen some hairy, scary stuff. I've seen some funny stuff. I've actually, in all fairness to ghosts, I'd have to say I've seen more funny, goofy ghosts than I've seen scary, hairy ghosts. I guess like Casper ghosts that are being doing goofy things. Like a lady called me up because she was having this weird experience." So I came and spent the night at her house with a couple other guys. We didn't see anything. So she calls next. You gotta come, gotta come. So we get there. So somebody was taking a bottle of maple syrup and just dumping it over on a pancake in a plate. Well, first off, she didn't make any pancakes, so she didn't know where the pancake came from, and it was in the plate. And then it was like a hole cut in the pancake, and the maple syrup was turned over, and it was just drawing all over. So we walked in her house, none of that was going on. And then I heard one of the guys who was working with us holler, and sure enough, we go in the kitchen, and there's a damn bottle. So the cam, we had a cam set up in there. So the cam didn't catch anything but this white wispy mist kind of whirled around the kitchen, and after it was done whirling around the kitchen, the bottle was there. So we didn't see any physical person, any eyes, anything like that. It looked like, man, it kind of looked like, it just looked like dense fog or rainy fog, really.
Hmm.
It was just whirling around, but it was probably like if you and I were standing next together, it was probably about that size, just whirling through. And then when the camera when it left, the bottle was in the thing, and no one could ever figure out. And it still goes on to this day. No one has no idea. People have tried to throw the ghost out, send the ghost home, whatever it is. I'm not even sure if it's a ghost because nothing seems to work and get it out of it. And it's nothing hostile. They're not hurting anybody or beating anybody other than making a mess with the syrup. They don't seem to be harming anybody.
Is that real maple syrup or is that Aunt Jemima
Yeah,
crap?
actually, what's funny, and I didn't realize this until we just talked about this. So Amelia sent me a bottle of Canadian maple syrup with the pretty little maple leaf. It was the exact same bottle. It was that bottle upside down. It was shaped like a maple leaf, and it was upside down. I thought it was a whiskey bottle at first, to be honest with you. I thought it was like some Canadian mist or some shit like that, but it wasn't. Well, it was good syrup too, by the way. I got a bottle of Canadian syrup sitting in my kitchen. I haven't even used yet. Sometime in the next couple of weeks, I'll make me some pancakes or some waffles. But you'll see
You know
when
what I
I
like,
get.
man? It's like sweet potatoes, and like then have them cold in the fridge the next day. Like so, you bake them, then you have them cold, then you dip them in that a little bit of maple syrup. Like when you eat them, man, that's freaking a little bit of whipped cream too. Oh my god, you want to eat? That's how you eat.
Well, I like to eat good food, that's for sure. There ain't no doubt about that since I've gained 15 pounds in the last 3 weeks.
Sweet potatoes are good for you. Maybe not the cream and the maple
Oh,
syrup.
I like sweet potatoes. Well, down here, when you go like seafood restaurants now and places like that, they offer you, do you want regular fries or sweet potato fries? I always get the sweet potato fries.
You
One, they're
know,
better for you, but they taste better to me.
the problem is with restaurants, man. Everything is
They
like
haunt
just
it.
it's just gross with fat, and you don't know. You don't even know what they're putting in the stuff really. And they're cost savers. They only want to be around
Well,
like 30 32
it
percent.
depends, but that reminds me. There's a place down here called Mahoney's, and I still remember this to this day. We were gambling at Beau Rivage, all right, which is a big casino down here. So we come out this casino, and I'm walking across the street. I was going to go to, it used to be called the Bicycle Club. We were going to go in and have dinner, play a little backgammon, and have a couple of cocktails. So I'm walking up around the back of the building and go up the ramp, and I see these three guys come running out of Mahoney, screaming, hollering. I was like, what the hell? So I stopped, I was waiting for the cops to come. No cops show up. So the guy's out there, like, just this black dude's like literally white. So I said, what's going on? What's going on? He said, man, our kitchen's haunted. I was like, no way, dude. There's no ghost in Mahoney's restaurant. So we got to talk, and come to find out, I talked to the owner later on. I called him, and come to find out the place is haunted. And they've tried. He said they have brought in all kind of people that try to get it out there. He said it's not that it's a vicious ghost, but it's extremely playful. Like sometimes when they're, and this is a high end restaurant, it's a $high dollar restaurant. So sometimes they said, some food will be going out, like some really nice setup food, and all of a sudden, as it's going through the door, it looks like somebody just plopped like some custard on top of it, and they got to bring it back in and fix it. And they say he's whatever it is. I don't want to say he or she because I don't know, but it seems to be really playful. But I remember when they had the place blessed. They had a priest from New Orleans come up and bless it. And I was thinking, well, I don't know if that's real or not real. Obviously, the ghost didn't care. Maybe he liked Holy Water. Maybe he thought he was getting a free shower or something. I don't know what the hell was going on. But it was weird because, you get these weird stories like that. I mean, all over the Gulf Coast, New Orleans, Pensacola, all these places, because they're old, they're all 250 years old and stuff. So there's a lot of haunting. Nothing like Europe that's 2,000 years old, but still, there's a lot of weird stuff that goes on.
I don't know. You know what? There's no evidence that ghosts stay that length of time. I
I
mean,
know.
we've been in places that were newly built. They were haunted. We were in places that were really old and they weren't haunted. And they were at one time. I think that energy goes. You know,
I think
they,
it does too.
and think about it. They don't have a function in this world. This world is not their world anymore. That's why it's important for them to move on. Sometimes they can't. Sometimes they won't. But
Yeah,
I'll tell you,
sometimes.
here's a cool story. There was this not not cool in a way like someone died. It's actually kind of sad, but this bus driver in Ithaca, he was going through this traffic light, and I guess the light had turned green, and he just kept going and driving, and then a tractor trailer T-boned him. Boom, hit him right in the front, and the guy was like literally 500 pounds. It ejected him. Oh, he didn't have a seatbelt on because he was so big. They had ejected him out of the bus through that little bus window. Like that's how the force was. This big giant guy onto the road. He plopped onto the road and he's dead. Then, not long after, they opened up a Five Guys burger chain right there at that corner. And then my friend's wife, this guy I know anyway, not my friend, but she's working there, and they're going over security footage. At night, they're seeing the inside lights go on, the motion lights, and it's triggering the alarm system. And then they saw this big orb kind of floating around where the grill is, and orbs could be bugs or dust or any of that crap. They said that this looked like it was moving around intelligently, and then it kept triggering the security lights. They had a security company come out and check the system, and it was fine, and it wasn't even all that sensitive. I mean, something has to trigger those PIR sensors. So it could have been the ghost of the 500-pound bus driver, man, trying to
Yeah.
get some Five Guys.
I I happen to like Five Guys.
Uh-oh. It's Amelia.
I know. I happen to like Five Guys. I'm not gonna lie. Can't hear
I
you,
love
Joe.
I love Five Guys. No, we got theme
Oh,
music.
sorry about that.
We have theme music for Amelia.
You do. What the
So,
hell's that?
so y'all do know that so a friend of mine used to have a company called Five Guys Painting.
Here goes.
Uh-oh.
Oh, good lord!
What the hell are we
It's
listening
National Pizza Day.
Amelia.
Oh my god!
I'm moving to Europe.
That's Amelia.
I'm so flattered.
Ting-a-ling-a-ling.
Oh, good lord!
Don't make me use the mute button on your ass.
Right?
Vita Bella.
Gosh.
All right.
Okay, where was I? Anyway. Yeah.
When Michelle comes in, we'll have different music for her, man.
Well, actually, Michelle did a good topic for us, and I did pictures and everything. I didn't see it until after she texted me, which
Yeah.
bites because I could have cheated.
She won't be here tonight. She has her
Oh.
grandson's birthday.
I had music. I had Back in Black chosen, like they in black, man.
Oh wow.
That's good theme music for her.
Yeah.
It's
How are you doing, Joe?
I'm alive and kicking, so it's a good
Mm.
sign so far. You see, I had no tie, no shirt, no nothing.
No
Basically,
service.
I'm still in work clothes. Somebody wrote to me a little while ago. That's what you look like at work. You look so much different. I'm like, no. I said, actually, I'm clean right now. People should see what I'm just. Right now, I'm doing a lot of paperwork. But you can see some days I am just dripping with stuff, dirty. Guy put my hands where nobody should ever put their hands.
Oh, ew. I don't know if I want to know that.
And let me tell you what. So here you go. True story. So in the French Quarter, right? We do a lot of work in the quarter. Right now, I got a lot of bids. Matter of fact, when I get done tonight, I got a shitload of bids to do for jobs we're doing in the French Quarter. So we're down there one time. This is about 12 years ago. We're doing some work, and we had to cut a hole and go underneath this building and dig a hole in the dirt, right? And I remember this episode of Star Trek where this black shit came out of the thing and went all over the place. This is what this looked like. This shit was so black and so old. Nobody had been down in this dirt for 200, 300 years. Everything in New Orleans has been filtering down in there for 300 years. So God knows what kind of disease in there. Black plague. Jesus Christ. This shit didn't make COVID look like a cakewalk. And so I told the guys, I said, only gloves. Don't touch anything you don't have to. Try not to splash it when people are walking by because this stuff was disgusting. I mean,
Yeah.
I haven't even seen. I've never seen water that black in my entire life. It's blacker than any sky I've ever seen. It's just disgustingly black, and
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of like, how can I say this? Not chunky, but it has texture to it. It's like somebody put some gel in there. Oh my god, it was gross.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
anyway,
it's slime.
so, but the funny part about this is, and this is a true story. So one of the guys is out there digging, and I hear he comes running back to me. He said, I went down to go this third time down, and a face came up at me. I'm like, dude, it's not a face. So I go back. I said, see, no face, no face. So I leave to go back. I come back. I turn right around. He goes, no, he gets just hollering, it's a face, it's a face. I said, dude, I said, I'm gonna come stand here with you when you go
Yeah.
to stick the post hole dig in the ground. So I'm standing there, and he's looking over, and he's just ready to put the post hole in. And I pushed him forward. He like to craft himself. That was
Oh
mean on
my.
my part, but I just wanted to get over it because yeah, New Orleans is a haunted city. It's a pretty fairly good haunted city, and thanks to Katrina, it's a now condensed haunted city. So this is a weird thing. So Katrina pushed all because it was all saltwater intrusion. All that
Yeah.
water was over the tops of roofs of homes, so it pushed all those entities that were living in the suburbs back into the city. They're just now starting to filter out. What I mean by that, you start to get reports like a quarter mile outside the city now, but we haven't seen a report outside the city itself or the Marigny in 14 years, which is crazy because it used to be all over the suburbs, all over New Orleans suburbs. All of a sudden, none. Even in the park, like City Park. City Park is where all the hanging oaks are, where all kind of people put to death. I mean, it should be
Oh,
seriously haunted
wow.
there.
Yeah.
So there's just now, I guess they were concentrated. It must have been ditch follow ghosts, on top of each other. But now they're just starting to filter their way back out. So I was reading an article about 2 days ago from a friend of mine. She does cleansings like you and Michelle does, and she said, we've been trying to cleanse this corner of the city now for 6 months. And no matter what we do or who we bring in, it just won't stop. She said, I'm beginning to think that it's not a ghost or a demon. She said, it must be something that's actually alive. And I said, oh, well, if that's the case, I'm coming to look.
Well, it could be someone who's bringing it in as well.
It's true, too.
They could be
So
conjuring it to keep it that way.
me and my second girlfriend, Martha, are going to go down there this next weekend and see what's going on.
Your second girlfriend?
Yeah, well, she's my second girlfriend, yeah.
Who's your first girlfriend?
Well, you can't tell you that, but Martha's cool.
She's
And then, of course, I got my wife, too. Let's not forget about my wife.
no, your wife's number one.
Yeah, well, she's coming with me. She's just a wife. She don't even count as one or two. She's just head honcho.
Just
Uh,
a wife, okay.
she's the head honcho. You got to get her
She's
permission ahead of
she's
time.
prima. That's right.
Well, no, anytime like a woman hits on me and asks me out for a date or something like that, I said, well, here, and I give her my wife's phone number, and it's always the same thing. Who's known? I said, that's my wife. If she says it's okay, we can go out. If not, I'm sorry. I said, but it's usually costs at least a Mercedes. And I'm thinking,
People
like
are
a
bold. People are
Oh,
bold.
people are bold,
Yeah.
and I've
Yeah.
actually had women call my wife before, so it's kind of strange. I had two of them call and tell her we're moving down there because we want to be closer to your man. She was like, "Excuse me." I thought there was going to be death for somebody that day, but But see, that's why I didn't marry a whim. I knew from the get go if I was going to get married or date anybody, I had to have a woman that could stand up for herself. And
You can't be jealous. You have to have faith in the other person, and that's all you can do. Because if someone's going to cheat, they're going to cheat. It doesn't really matter.
It's true too. They will.
Yeah.
It's when you see, though, getting back to the French Quarter, it's so weird down there because, and I do bring my second girlfriend, Martha, with me a lot. She's sexy. She's fierce. She don't put in no bullshit. She got 21, I guess, I don't know, 21 fingernails, I guess we'll call them. Anyway, it's she's mean, man. Matter of fact, the other day I was somewhere, she was all hooked up on my hip, and some guy in this Yahweh store, it looked like they were going to rob him, and they seen Martha, and they said, "Well, we better go the other way." That's how mean of a bitch she is. So
Now I
those
know who
things,
you're talking about.
yeah.
You're like you're like Sheriff Joe
What
in
the
New
hell?
Orleans.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
where's
That'd
your
be a,
badge?
for a
that'd be a good
side note,
show,
people,
man.
for a crazy side note, because I know we were getting off topic here for a minute, but so really, I'm working on a job in the city. It's right on Decatur Street, which is a couple blocks off of it. It's a street that runs against the levee and the Riverwalk, but it's a couple blocks. It's right next to the Jackson Square, and about 2 blocks from Bourbon, 3 blocks from Bourbon. So I walk in there. I wanted to get something for a friend of mine. So I'm walking in there. He's been bugging me about this stupid thing. Oh, you got a quarter all the time. I said, oh, yeah. So I walk in, and there's these two guys up there, and they're just, oh, how much is this? How much is that? Oh, let me get 40s, 50s. And they keep getting the price up, and then they go down. They go up, and they go down. And they keep giving back. And this other guy's just walking around the store looking and looking and looking. And then he did this number to walk up behind me on the side of me, and I turned around. And when he did, I put my hand on Martha's hip. I said, baby, calm down. He's stupid.
Sorry.
Is he that? Is he that stupid? Is the question. And he's seen it. When
Oh,
he's seen it, he said something to his friends. All three of them left. I mean, immediately left.
yeah.
So I told the guy. I said, he said, man, why'd they leave? And I went like this. I said, Martha told them to get out. And he's like, oh. And he said, what are you? I said, I think he was about to get robbed, my friend. I said, obviously they didn't have a gun because it would have been a shootout in your store. I said, so I think he's getting ready to get robbed. It happens from time to time. You're in the right place at the right time. But I was only carrying it because I didn't want to leave it in my car downtown because if anybody's seen it, I'd have a window busted and a gun gone.
Well, anything. You shouldn't have anything out on your seats, you know?
Well, I don't. It's not even on the seat. It's in this little slide. But I've seen people. They got like eagle eye little shits up there. They'll walk by, see something shiny or something, which is not on this one, but boom down their window. I actually caught a guy. I was on a job site, customer I'm there all the time with. I walk out of the building, walk around. This guy's got his face plastered to my side window, looking straight at Martha. And I walked up behind him. I said, dude, Martha's a bitch. She don't put up with that. You touch it the wrong way, you're gonna be
Yeah.
up in the grave somewhere. And my customer behind, he starts laughing. He said, who's Martha? I said, hold on, I'll properly introduce you to her. Reached in the car, pulled out, dropped the clip. I said, this is Martha. He's like, oh,
Wow.
I see who you're talking about now. Because he was expecting to see some woman come walking out of somewhere. And I was like, no, 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 no. She's a
We
sweet.
had so many car thefts in our city.
Mhm.
So many car thefts from the theater, the movie theater,
Oh, yeah.
that they were putting decoy cars, and cops would come around and check your vehicle while you're in the movie theater. And I got a perfect score. I go, of course, I dated a cop for years, right? But like
He
nothing,
was
no
a ghost
change
cop,
in my
people.
change thing, no, nothing on my seats. You couldn't see anything. It was like I don't have stuff in my vehicle. If there's stuff, somebody else has been driving it. I don't like clutter, so everything's like super super clean.
You would not
Like
like to get
Michael's
in
new
my car right now.
apartment.
Trust me, neither one of y'all like to get in my car right now. It is like a clutter. But,
Yeah, well, I
so
haven't been driving my truck, so I
so
don't know.
we just gutted this eightplex, and we're getting ready. It's been raining because it keeps blowing the tarp, so it keeps flooding the place. So the other day I'm walking through it, and twice I felt something brush by me. Now remember, everything's open and there's nobody in the eightplex but me.
Hmm.
Everybody's out. Everybody's done. We're through to
Where did
gut
you
out.
feel it?
I felt it one time go across my shoulder, like somebody just kind of went like that, and it
Oh,
stopped about right here.
like a spider
And
web?
nah, it felt like a hand just draping across my chest.
Mm,
And then I stopped and turned around, and it felt like somebody just put their hand on my left shoulder and just let the hand slide all the way down to like the top of my hip. And I
wow.
was like, but it wasn't forceful or anything. Like it really felt like it was either a boy child or a female because there was no force to the hand at all.
Hmm.
Most guys, even just regular guys, they would kind of push a little bit if they were to do that because they don't want to be like friendly with you and
It
stuff.
was
So
bleed through aliens,
it
man.
might have been. I don't know what it was, but that's the weird part because no one's ever reported any hauntings in this place ever. As far as I know,
Yeah.
I've looked it up. There's nothing there. I've known three of the owners of this building now, and no one's ever reported any
Maybe
ghosties.
something followed you. Maybe it wasn't from there,
Now, I tell you, when we
right?
uptown, one of our owners owns a bunch of houses and duplexes in the city. Them all of them are haunted. They're all haunted. You'll be sitting there, all of a sudden, when your tools will slide across the floor. You're like, really, really. It's like a dog. You know, how
Oh,
a dog would
wow.
grab it and pull you. You're just
Yes.
watching it. And I'm like,
Yes.
really? Can I have a tool back? And then it'll slide back. I'm like, oh, whatever. And then one time, we're out there working, and we're trying to get this window out, and everybody's huffing and puffing, so the wind is fogging it, right? And I looked up, and your boy looks up, and we get the face. It was like somebody had to. We stopped because we thought we were pushing it against somebody's face outside, and we realized that the window's like 9 feet off the ground. I was like, son of a bitch. But still, it didn't push back. It wasn't forceful. We have had a couple times where we had things slam. There was one house, a guy was growing marijuana in it. And I heard twice, get out, get out. And
Oh,
I was like, I looked over at my friend and said, this guy telling us to get out of his house because he's going, I was going to get pissed with this dude. And then he
yeah.
just comes walking out with like half the top of a tree. Hey, man, have you ever seen this before? I just started laughing. I said, well, what are you saying? I said, dude, did you ever hear weird stuff? And we got to talking. He was hearing all kind of weird stuff. And he said, this cracked me up. People, if you live in an illegal state, if marijuana is illegal in your state, turn this off for a moment. So this is in Louisiana, which at the time, now it's medical marijuana. But so he said he's growing 4 plants in it. He said he had about 3 or 4 inch buds hanging off him. He said, I got up one
Mm-hmm.
morning
Oh, like,
and I found them all cleaned. All the buds have been taken off the plants and cleaned and stacked in these pretty little plastic containers with the lids on. And it even was marked what kind it was. So
oh,
he figured his girlfriend got ambitious in the middle of the night and did it. His girlfriend didn't even come home. She spent the night at her mom's house.
it was categorized like the varieties
Yeah, variety,
by a
flavor.
ghost.
It was all in. And and what's funny about this is so he's got pictures. He's got a camera hanging in there because he says roommates were always in there stealing buds. And so he put a camera in there. So what you see on the camera is you see the plant do this kind of
Yeah.
fast a couple of times, and then it stops, and then there's no buds on it. And then you see the tray kind of slide a little bit, and then they're stacked in there. And then you don't see the pen writing, but you see the ink on the paper writing. It's a good video. It's creepy as all hell, but
That
I mean,
is really cool. I
he
would love to see that.
he cracks me up.
I want to see the video. Where is it, man? I
Right?
want to see it.
I know.
I don't know if he's got it online, but I'll ask him. He'll probably give it
Yeah.
to me if I ask
Call
him.
him right now.
He's all stoned. to
Call
have his
him
gourd
right
done.
now. Are you going somewhere?
No, if I call him right now, you want to get
Right
on the
now.
radio with us, and he's probably stoned out of his gourd.
Maybe he was stoned and that's what he did. Like maybe he went to his
Yeah,
plants.
I actually said that, by the way. I said, dude, you sure you just get really high in the middle of the night and get up and do this?
You
He said,
just did this.
He said, do you see me anywhere? And there's 9 hours of film on the camera before it switches to the next one. And he's like, you don't see me on here anywhere. I was like, yeah, but you might have cut it or clipped it. So I asked him if I could see it because, I install video security systems. That's one of the things our company does. I said, can I take a look at it? I just want to make sure it wasn't tampered with or played with. He had it locked in a loop. Nobody had touched it. It erases itself. So I was like,
Oh,
wow, that's interesting.
that's
Still,
very
it was,
interesting.
it could have been maybe some alien wanted to get high or something. Said, look, I'll take a couple bucks.
Great.
I'll fix it up for him. But it's not the first time I've heard of an alien messing with weed before.
Really?
Yeah,
That
it's not the
sounds
first
so
time.
absurd. You know what's terrible is we're so conditioned to seeing so many fake videos that we don't know the real thing when we see it.
Well, I like to got this guy Clarkson down here. He says every time he barbecues, now I got a video of this. So he's barbecuing. He takes the steak off, puts it on the thing, takes out the steak, takes out the thing, takes some potatoes, put it on the thing. He turns around and gets something, boom, 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 boom. All the steaks are back, all the potatoes are back. It's like they weren't cooked enough or something. And it goes
Yeah.
on for 3 or 4 times, and then all of a sudden it stops.
That's almost like a poltergeist, though. They
I'm like,
get
what is
like
the alien
all.
want it well done instead of medium rare?
Is it an alien though? I don't know.
It could be no. I mean a ghost. I don't mean alien. Anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
Ghost. I don't think alien's gonna mess. I mean, if he was a contactee, maybe it might screw with him like that. But just an everyday person, no, not so much. I'm not interested in that kind of stuff.
No.
But we hear weird stories. That's what I said. I get more reports of fun, goofy stuff than I do scary stuff. But not by saying that, it's not that we don't get hairy, scary stuff. And there's been a few times I've been places where I just wanted to leave. We were
Those are the worst.
We were in the third graveyard, and see, NASA, it's infinite wisdom. Way back in the day, 60 years ago, not far from where I live. I'm only actually 25 miles from NASA's buffer zone. That's how close I live to these assholes. So they took over all this territory in the 60s doing the Apollo program. They took over 5 cities. I thought it was 4, but it was 5 cities. They tore all the cities down. They left all the roads and all the graveyards. By the way, the graveyards are still being used even today. Most of these cities went back to like 1680, 1710, places like that. So they're fairly old graveyards. The first one we went to, really, we had a lot of freaky stuff, but this was one we found, but a bunch of cypress trees, and we're in there one night, and I'm sitting there with a friend of mine. It's just beautiful. The sky is just gorgeous. This soft breeze blowing. It's just a beautiful night. You can hear the animals in the woods. No kind of weird sounds. Everything's great. Cameras are rolling. There was like 11 cameras rolling. No one saw anything. Everybody had this unreal, pleasurable experience. Everybody was happy when we left. Even though we didn't see anything and catch anything, everything was happy and nice. So we go home, and a lot of times, especially me, I'm bad about it. Sometimes I wait months to review tape, but some of the other ones are kind of anxious. So I get a call from Ross, and he goes, "Joe, what was walking around touching our glasses?" I'm like, "What are you talking about touching our glasses?" He said, "Our cups." He said, "On the tape, you see the cup just move every once in a while." He's like, he said, "I got the distinct feeling we were being drugged." I was like, "Get that!" But everybody did leave with this kind of high sense of weird sensation. I didn't taste any drugs. I didn't feel any action of drug, and I've done enough drugs when I was young. I think I would have noticed. Maybe not, but I think I would have noticed. But still, it's on NASA territory, so you can't just immediately
Oh
say it's
my
ghost.
gosh.
You
No,
can't
you
immediately say
can't.
it's alien. It could be anything. So,
I wouldn't
you know,
drink anything they gave me, man. Nothing.
Not on that
I'd
site,
pull out my own flask, get some
right?
whiskey
no, that's not
going,
what I'm
something,
saying. They didn't give it to us. Everybody had
bottled water.
okay. We were drinking. What were we drinking that night? We would what the hell were we? Oh, we were drinking Crown and Coke is what we did. We had in the
You see, I
flask.
really don't drink, man, so I don't fall to that. I taste whiskey sometimes, but man, I've only been drunk like twice in my life.
Me too. I'm not a
Really?
Yeah.
drinker. Yeah. I'm
Let
not.
me
I'm
get my
always
feet
the
off the
designated
ground.
driver.
Okay, let's have it up here. Okay. I was just lifting my feet off the ground. Sorry.
Amelia and I would be drunk on cheese, like
Yes.
old stinky French
No,
cheese, and
not
like.
old stinky French cheese. You can eat that all by yourself, but yeah.
But see, that's another thing. I get a lot of reports of apparitions or ghosties moving food around, moving clothes around, moving things
Yes.
around, moving keys around. What is the thing
Yeah.
with the keys, man? What they didn't have cars
The
back in the day, so they
keys.
feel the need to screw with your keys. Let me move the keys here. Let
Sometimes
me move the keys there.
sometimes it's, and I think Michael agree with me, sometimes it's because they're trying to disrupt you in your life, but most of the time what I find is that when it's your keys, it's someone that that has passed away trying to get your attention. When it's something personal, it's a little bit different.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, of course it happens.
A friend of mine said the other day my mom would be haunted. I said my mom would be haunting me. I know instantly.
Your loved
Trust me.
ones never haunt
I'd be
you.
having shit flung at me. It'd be these weird
Yeah.
screaming sounds. I don't know. Anyway, don't people. I
No.
love my mom to death. Well, I love her. She's not gone, but still. We used to fight like cats and dogs, but only at work. And it used to freak out everybody at work because we'd get into it sometimes. I'm like, whatever, woman, you just nutsy, crazy bitch.
Oh,
And oh no, I'd be meaner than that. And she was far meaner than that to me. She didn't pull no punches. And then at 6
What
o'clock,
happened to that down
we'd all go
south
get dinner.
gallant guy obey your mom crap?
But we do. That's what
What's
you're
up?
missing. That's why you let me finish. So at 6 o'clock, work is done. Okay. We're going to have cocktails and dinner together, having chit chat and having fun. And we don't even discuss work because we're family. But from 9 to 5, we're not family. We employees and bosses. And
yeah,
baby,
no, I get that.
and we fight about it all the time because sometimes I thought she didn't know what she's doing. Sometimes she didn't know what I think I was doing. So we'd fight back and forth until somebody won. It was, but people took it the wrong way. They were like, oh, they're never going to speak to each other again. And then all of a sudden, we're out having dinner. And I still remember the first time one of our owners seen that. They're like, wow, I wish I could do that with my mom. She said she'd punch me out and shoot me. I'd be in the
Oh,
grave.
I'd be hanging if I talked to my mother that way.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'd be hanging.
Well, because if I didn't, she'd just
Hi,
bully
Michelle.
everybody around.
Yeah.
And she'd just bully around. Hey, Michelle, how you doing? She'd just bully people. She's who she was. She's mean, man. She's a sweetheart.
a lot of women in business, like a business that has a lot of men in it, are tougher. They have to be.
We have to be, especially. Come on, you're running contractors. We're not nice to start off with.
No.
We wouldn't be doing contracting if we were all
I
sweethearts.
don't know. They're all nice to me at Home Depot.
I bet you they are.
They are.
Depot. They're not
They're all
contractors
nice
anyway.
to
They don't
me.
want to be
Because
contractors.
you're a sweetheart. That's why. It's gonna be mean to
No,
you.
no.
You
I
know when
just
you're with a group of contractors. Trust me on that.
I'm
There ain't
used
no
to
doubt
being
about it.
around that because my dad was a builder, so I'm used to being around. And
Yeah,
I had 3
and I
brothers.
guarantee them guys weren't going to say nothing around you with daddy.
No, and he was the foreman. No, that wouldn't happen. But like, it was a different life for me, right? But I know there's a lot of construction sites that are haunted because my dad would tell me stories. And I have some pieces from excavations when they were digging up, like they demolish houses, old houses in Toronto from the 1800s, and then they were putting up these buildings, right? Because we really don't have, we have a historical society, but we really don't. We're not like a lot of countries that really protect their buildings. Not in Toronto. It's really
only 50
sad.
years old.
No, Toronto's older than 50 years old, but
It's 50.
you know, it's a lot older than that. But
200 years ago, it's just some swamp with some beavers, man. We're not counting
yeah,
that.
no,
We're talking when it
no,
was
I've
civilized.
got pictures to prove it. But anyways, my dad would excavate these homes, and back then you would build the strapping walls with the plaster in between. So there was always stuff behind the walls and in the ground, and I have some of those pieces, and they have created issues for me where I had to clear them. You know, like that happens. You're going to have attachments, and then when you go back that far and you look at the war zones, you're going to always have ghosts left behind, right?
Yeah, but that's another thing. I know some places ghosts seem to disappear fairly quick, and then some places seem to just be haunted forever. I talked to like my European
know.
friends. They talk to ghosts that just seem to be there for millennials. And you're like, what the hell?
They're not being crossed over. There's so many different answers to that. There's the energy on the land. There's what's happening on the land. Is anyone conjuring them? Why are they staying behind? Was it traumatic? I mean, Michael, you got this one.
Suffering, great suffering.
Yeah.
Things that draw them in. I mean, look at all these recent dead in these places from COVID, like India.
Oh,
Yeah. 4, 5, 6,000 dead dying a day, and bodies washing up on the river's edge. I mean, you can't get away from that without having paranormal activity thereafter. A lot of them don't even know they're dead. I mean, we ran into that. I know you guys have to have heard. I'm not dead. I've got EVP saying that I'm not dead
more than once. Yeah.
Yeah, and it makes you. It's kind of crazy to hear that, but
that's when you hold up a mirror and say, "What do you see?" Oh, you're dead.
Yeah,
asshole.
but when it's a traumatic death, they don't realize it. There's no time, right? Time doesn't pass there. It just doesn't exist. It's a different dimension. They're still here with us, and some of them still see what was there when they passed away.
Yep.
There's reasons why spirits will walk the same way. It's not always residual haunting. Sometimes it's just because that's the way their house was built and their staircase was on the other side. So you'll see it like in midair and go, what the hell was that?
I mean, we had that in one house, and these people were coming out of the closet, and it turned out it used to be a hall, and they would see them walk out. But that was your classic haunting. Man, the woman got pushed down the stairs, like she actually felt hands in her back pushing her, and they had this basement door, and really weird situation. A basement door with a big sliding bolt on both sides. So like whoever went down in there would lock themselves down in there, whatever they did, But that door would open at night, and the unslide, the lock would you have to see this gigantic, probably the 1-inch square sliding lock, like this really old lock, and it would open up. The door would open up. They'd hear all kinds of stuff, and then the woman there had to go to the hospital a couple times. She thought she was having a heart attack. She felt something sitting on top of her in bed, pushing down on her. But it turns out a family died there. I looked at the history. We went in there, and then in 1900, a family of 5 died from asphyxiation. It didn't say why, but probably fire, probably smoke.
Yeah.
And I mean,
that would cause them to be grounded, right? And then sometimes you do have spirits that are ascended, but they don't stay. That's what I always say to people. If they're ascended, they don't hang out. They visit, but they don't stay there.
The neighbor told me nobody lived in that house longer than 6 months.
Okay, it was that bad.
Yeah.
When I cross over, I'm putting a new set of locks on both sides of the other side, the lower and the upper side.
Well,
we had contractor rise, new gates, no more this sneaking out shit, no more sneaking in. Gates are locked, bro. You ain't getting out. No more visiting.
If only it was that simple.
Oh, trust me when I get over there. It's gonna be that simple.
We had an awesome medium come, and she, I think she was probably only about 16 or 17 at the time. Came with her mom, and she very, very good at what she did. Man, she cleared that place out. said St. Michael's prayer, did a whole bunch of other stuff, and we went room for room. And then, you know what? Like 2 years later, I heard from the guy that was still living there, and he had still been there, and he said everything was quiet. And it's funny because he just got out of the army with his wife, and he's got a couple kids. They were new. The people that called us initially ran out of there in the middle of the night because they couldn't handle it anymore.
Is that bad?
And so that woman got pushed down the stairs. This new guy calls, and he's like, I see you guys are into. We used to take an ad out on Craigslist, So he's like, I see you guys are into the paranormal and doing investigations. He's like, my wife got pushed down the stairs. The door keeps opening, like the same stuff. I said, what's your address? It was the same address.
Oh,
I was
wow.
like, wow. Yeah, I called my friend Pete. I'm like, you'll never guess who just called me. So think about that. But they didn't want people in their house. So the guy called me a couple years later, said everything's quiet. And thanked us again and said his wife was upset because we put her on camera. I said, don't walk in front of the camera if you don't want to be on camera.
Right. Don't shake in front of the camera.
Yeah.
But she had no reason. She has no reason to be upset.
No shaking in front of the camera.
She was just camera shy, but don't walk in front of the camera. That's it.
I know one that really creeped me out. A friend of ours sent us this photo. She had just lost her sister, and she was just her twin sister at that, and she was just distraught.
That's terrible.
And you
terrible.
see her, and her little brother took this picture of all people. Now, he said he didn't see it, but when it flashed, it was one of them old cameras with the round flashes. People, if you don't know what I'm talking about, you're too young to know.
Like a 110?
The cube, yeah, the cube, yeah, something like that. So he had one of them cameras, and
Kodaks.
And so anyway, he snaps 2 pictures, and they sent them off to have them developed. Well, the developer called him and said, well, it's a little weird in the picture, so they come pick him up. So you can see her sister hugging her back.
Oh, you're making me cry right now.
You actually see her hands go up because in the 2 shots. So in one shot, you see her hands are like this, and one hand is underneath her hair. In the next shot, her hand is up here, and the girl's hair is pushed up, in the back. And it creeped me out. It creeped
you out. I'm
crying.
It's
weird because that's what it says. It's kind of the effect it had on me. It kind of made me like, oh my God. But then it kind of creeped me out at the same thing. It was a great picture. They got it today. They share it from time to time. They got a Facebook page. They put it on from time to time.
Good for her.
They actually made 2 portraits out and put them on the wall.
That's beautiful because she has that experience where she's aware and knows that there is something else, and she's there to let her know she's okay. It's a beautiful thing.
So some investigators came over and said it was this, that, and the other thing. So the girl took out the picture of the day she was killed and what she was wearing. She was wearing the exact outfit, the exact same outfit. No ifs, ands, or buts. Had the same bows in her hair, same clips, the whole 9 yards, all the way down to her shoes. There was no doubt it was her. Once you see the picture of the day she died, you're like, oh shit, and you doubt what that was. I guess she wanted to reassure her sister, and you could see because of the way she had her arms like this, so she could feel it. You couldn't see it, but she could feel it.
She could feel that warmth in her love. And then there's that whole twin thing too, right?
Yeah, and that's something else. They maybe joined across. So.
They have a cosmic connection, twins, man.
They really do. My cousins are they're twin brothers, and I don't think they're identical. They say they're identical. Sorry, V, if you're listening. I can see the difference. I don't know if it's just because I've always been around. I don't know. Okay. I've always been able to tell them apart, but they're complete polar opposites in their spirituality. Like one's very spiritual and in tune and all of this stuff, and even went by himself to, oh my gosh, what's it called?
Jamaica?
In Buffalo. No.
Italy?
No, that place.
Mother Russia.
Okay, now I'm never gonna get. It's like having my brother here. Oh my god!
I'm channeling.
What is that place called with the spiritualism? It was on the tip of my tongue. I can't believe Lilydale. He even went there by himself, just out of interest, to see what was going on. And his brother's is total opposite. Everything scientific, real, has to be right in front of my face, and I find that interesting. How I feel like maybe they balance each other that way, right? Because they're really, really close.
Mm-hmm.
But I really love hearing stories about people who are twins, like hearing their energies. And I've always wondered, what's it like? Like, I don't want to know anytime soon because I love my cousins, but what's it like for them to lose the other half? It must be hell.
My middle brother and sister are twins. And I didn't meet them till I was 28 or 30. They had been putting up for adoption when I was a kid. So all of a
Yeah.
sudden, out of the blue, I get this. You got a brother and sister. I said,
Thank you,
yeah.
Christy.
I said, I got several. I said, yeah, I know Jay and Judy, my sister. The half sister, and they're older than me. And then I got my baby sister, Stephanie. She said, oh no, there's somebody in between them. I'm like, what? So all of a sudden, I got a brother and sister. Matter of fact, I was talking to my brother today where he's in the roof business. So I was talking with him earlier and about some jobs. But it's weird because Dawn, who's a daughter, she looked just like my mother, and she acted just like my mother.
Oh wow.
My mom was a snot, and she was I mean, my mom was, look, everything had to be in its place, perfect. Don't I would hate to be a waiter that was bringing her dinner. Uh, she was tough, and that's just the way she was. And she was an attractive woman. She had her shit together, and she wasn't putting up with no BS from nobody. She said, "I made it this far. I'm going to keep going." Because my dad died when she was pretty young.
She was very young, yeah.
So, and that was the only person she really knew, other than because she met him when she was 17. So it was like she was devastated. So she just after that, she was like, "Nope, I'm no nonsense. I ain't putting up with this crap. I got to put up with it. And I'm not going to." And it took a little while to get there, but once she was there, she was there. It's
Yeah.
like, Mom, that's not an attractive quality. I know you're looking for another mate. I said, okay, never mind. Whatever you say, Mom.
Oh my
I'm not even
god.
going to argue with you about it. You won the argument before we even get started. But she was fun to argue with. I missed those arguments. It was a good stress relief for me.
Keep putting it out there. She might come back and give you another one.
I'm sure she tortures me every once in a while. She's probably possessing that damn dog that's in my house. She said, "Yeah, let me put a little possession on that dog." Yeah,
Animals are sensitive, man. They can see lots of stuff.
Super sensitive. Super sensitive. My dog sees things before I do, and I have a lot of activity in my house. But my cat, when I had a cat, I believe that, and his name was Popeye. Yes, I believe that Popeye. I believe that Popeye saw a lot more than my dog sees, and I think it's just because my dog's he's always sleeping. But I believe like Popeye would just face a corner and lose himself, and I'd be like, oh, great. Like my land where my house is, where it's built, is War of 1812. So headquarters are 2 kilometers away from my house. And it's quite active at times. No matter how much you clear it, stuff comes in, right?
I want to visit.
Yeah, anytime.
I'm inoculated.
I owe you pizza. You can come in. We just can't come there. But you can come here. It's just Biden's not letting us into the state.
But then I can't leave.
Yeah,
but
but
that would be good,
can.
though.
You can leave because you're a citizen. You can go back home.
The joke's on them. I don't want to leave.
There you go. You're better off here. You got free health care.
They're like, you can't leave. I'm like, yeah.
It's okay. Amelia's got an extra room. But, like it just, it's tough when a property is haunted. I remember when we were building this house, I was just like, oh, thank God, this is how naive I was. Thank God it won't be haunted because it's brand new. Nobody's been in it. No one's died in there. Never, ever did I think about the property. That's why I said sometimes spirits stay around because of the ground. You could have blood-soaked ground from wars, traumatic, not just wars, but like Michael was saying, where they were asphyxiated with the fire. You could have anything, any type of trauma where somebody died traumatically. A plane crash. There's a site that there was a plane crash in the 70s in Toronto, and the highways go around. They can't build over it because the graves, they buried them there. And I can tell you, every time I drive by it, I can't look because I will always see something there.
And it's the feeling too. It draws you in.
Before you're there, you know that you're going to pass that. It's under the overpass, right? And I'm like, oh.
I'll tell you something crazy. Like the property I'm sitting on right now was part of Sullivan's March, and they kind of went on all sides of the Finger Lakes, killing all the Native Americans. Washington told Sullivan to terrorize them, and that's what they did. They killed women, children, babies. So along the shores of these lakes, you just have this such heavy energy sometimes. I have a friend with a cabin on the other lake, another lake, and they actually have pictures of Native Americans in full headdress, and also like Amish looking. I mean, there are Amish in the area, I mean, lots of them, and also Mennonites. But there's cheese farms, for instance, and there's a lot of heavy agriculture. But along
Mhm.
the lakes is where these Native Americans lived, and it's just unbelievable how many thousands and thousands, tens of thousands that were destroyed. They didn't stop until they got just outside of Rochester, when the British started fighting them back. But that's how far it went to.
Yeah.
So all the Finger Lakes, there's 11 of them. So amazing.
And then the water just emphasizes that and feeds it, right? Gives it energy.
Yeah, negative
Yeah.
energy, negative ions, but it's good. Good negative ions is good energy, though.
Yeah.
But also I think over the years, there are people who really love it though and enjoy it, and there are good times. I was just watching people outside smiling, having a great time. Like they're enjoying the lake, and that good energy can dispel bad energy. You know,
Huge. Yes,
when
it does.
we do a paranormal investigation, we start laughing and having a good time. That's when things start happening. That's when these entities come out. They don't want to come out to somebody who's all with a grimace and they cross their arms and I'm provoking you. You come out. Who the hell wants to deal with that? I want to join the party. I hear some laughing. I want to have a good time, man.
Yeah.
That's me.
No, I like that. I like that. Positive
Yeah,
energy trumps negative.
we're only 3 hours from each other, man. I drive up there. I got a Hemi. I can get there in an hour and a half.
You're funny.
I'll bring some cheese. I know you got cheese. I'll bring
Oh
some
no,
cheese.
I'm a wholesaler.
bring-
I don't eat cheese. Yeah.
I'll bring the wine.
It's never in my house though, believe it or not. Not the wine. The wine there's tons of, but the cheese is never in my house. But that's another story.
Well, the Finger Lakes. There's like over 100 wineries now.
Yeah.
They have like beer gardens now and all that other stuff. I don't
Yeah.
actually. I'm not really into all that stuff. I like the places. They're fun and the atmosphere is nice. And I love vineyards. I love
I love
farms in
eating
general.
dinner at vineyards. I love
Yeah.
that because it makes you feel like you're back in Europe. You
Yeah,
don't
you
feel
got-
like you're here. Yeah.
I have a friend who owns a vineyard called Americana. His name is Joe. Joe and Butch, man, two great guys, and they got a cafe there. The food is unbelievable, man. I mean, such top notch you would never even think. It's an
Is
old
the
style
ghosties
looking
eat
cafe.
there? I want to know if the ghosties eat there. Hey, Christy, how you doing?
Believe it or not, yeah, it is haunted, man. And but
okay.
no, I'm saying like it's also tied to the land. You have these, and there are people who walk into their buildings that have in this area. They say hello when they walk in there. They say goodbye. We used to do that. There was a limousine company I was part of a long time ago, and I was actually driving for them, man, doing runs up and down to the city because nobody upstate wants to drive into the city, and that was my nature of the city, So I'd be that guy. I'd go back in the middle of the night, put the car away, and then there was a limousine driver who got killed. He actually had got on his motorcycle after his shift, and he was driving down the road, and some kid on a tractor came off a farm and then ran right into each other. Boom, the guy died.
Oh, no.
And we knew it was him that was there. You see him sometimes on the second floor looking out of the window, like down into the bay where all the cars were, and we'd say, hey, hello, goodbye. I mean, it was like almost like good luck if you're running out on a run, because you never know what happens on the open road.
Do you ever feel like you should be maybe helping them across, seeing if you can guide them?
At that point, believe it or not, I was not really into the paranormal all that much. It was a very long
Okay.
time ago.
Yeah.
And I had seen things. I had experienced things when I was a kid, all kinds of stories. I've had weird experiences with that Montauk thing, with the UFO thing, and all the cops and government agents that accosted my friend and I. I mean, like, so you have your experiences, but then you don't delve in. It's afterwards. Like after the Montauk thing, when I was in a club called Sundance, the place I used to hang out at, and then at that time I was an entertainment writer on Long Island, and then so I'd go to all these clubs and whatever. Tremendously underpaid job, by the way.
I know my daughter used to do it. That's why she's with the NHL now.
Exactly. but it's something you do. It was fun being on the run, and but I ran to these girls, and I was telling about my Montauk experience because it was when a cop puts a gun to your head and starts screaming at you that you're at an Air Force base that's underground. I didn't know what the whole thing didn't make sense and connect in my brain. An Air Force base that's underground, great. I mean, okay. What about a naval base up in the clouds? I mean, whatever. You know what I mean? You gotta start, and then I was like, we weren't there. I don't know what you're talking about. Blah blah blah. And then they left us with the East Hampton police and a state trooper. And then the East Hampton police guy gave me 6 tickets because my friend's car he had just put on the road and it wasn't even insured yet. So he didn't have all of his documentation. He was drunk. I was driving because I didn't drink. And then that was the experience. But then I met these girls, and the girl's like, she's like, I know what you're talking about. I have a book for you to read. It was called The Montauk Boys. And it was about experiments that they did at this Montauk site about aliens and people and blending them together and all this other stuff. And they had
Oh wow.
these secretive chairs. But you want to hear something crazy? All right, so that's cool. All that. Years later, 3 or 4 years later, I'm hanging out at 7-Eleven with my friend Bobby, who used to be the night manager. And then we used to hang out and basically drink coffee and play video games. And, this dude used to come in all the time who said he was a janitor at Brookhaven Labs, right? Which is a pretty big place that they do experiments and all that and everything, So one night he comes in and he would never talk about his job, not ever. He would just smile and be like, I know stuff you guys don't know and whatever. And Bobby and I just look at each other and like, whatever, you know what I mean? Then he comes in one night, he got fired. And he started talking, and he's like, you guys see what goes on there? They have an underground tram that goes from the Brookhaven lab to the Montauk site. So the Montauk site, they covered the whole thing in a concrete sarcophagus, so you can't get down in there. But the guy said there's over 33 floors that go straight down. And this is, surrounded by water and ocean, man, and all that. You know what I mean? Like, very interesting stuff. But the guy told us all kinds of, like, underground trams and secret operations because he was the head janitor. So
how haunted it is down there.
He was in every milk and cranny of that place. So
what's that, Joe?
Let me see if I can see it. It's a haunted train tunnel.
Bring up the Montauk Boys, man.
And they're gonna show it to me now.
It's on his phone.
I know this girl, man.
I could have cheated and put it up like that.
I know this girl who they have a group of people where they're not into paranormal, but they investigate abandoned properties, which is kind of cool.
Can you see it, Michael? The tunnel that Joe just showed.
Yeah,
what tunnel is that?
Oh,
it just showed a light coming down the abandoned tunnel. That's all it showed.
For what?
A train
tunnel. Apparently, it's a train coming down that don't exist anymore.
I
don't know what all
really
this. They got all kind of this weird ass writing all over it. Yeah, there it is again. I moved right.
Train tunnels are so haunted.
They got that in
tracks, everything. So many people died laying those tracks, right?
They got that in Warwick, New York, where every once in a while, people waiting for the commuter train sees a ghost train pull through. That some train that had crashed years ago, and we did a train crash just over by Rochester, in Manchester. It was the 99th year anniversary of that train crash into the gorge. And there was a ton of people around us. We went to the building where they turned the train, all that. And I don't know, there's so many stories, but we went in there. We actually got a little girl that said, Mommy, like that. She was calling out to Tammy, our psychic that was with us. And she was like, Mommy, I have all those EVPs. All that stuff's on YouTube. I mean, all the stuff I talk about, these investigations, youtube.com/Discovery Paranormal, all one word. And then there's all kinds of stuff there.
You need to go back and clear it. I can't leave spirits behind. I see so often all the spirits that are left behind in the typical, not typical, but you see a lot on the Queen Mary. Everybody gets the same EVPs and they look for the same thing. And I would love to just help these people over, stop leaving them there, and is any of it real? It's so hard to know.
Why do you think they're there? I mean, they all have their reasons, I guess, or different circumstances. I mean, we've gotten that were trapped in one room, and the ones that were trapped in one room didn't know any other of the spirits that were in the building, and there were a lot of them.
That happens too. It's like us, right? We could be trapped in a room. We wouldn't know if somebody else was in that building.
Well, you hear the idiot next door going crazy at 2:00 in the morning in the hotel room. That's me. I'm the idiot going crazy 2:00 in the morning. I'm the one like talking in my sleep all night long, shouting out shit.
God. Anyways, Joe.
What the fuck?
What's it? That's Joe. You better be careful with that F there. A few more months, and you're going to get a $25,000 fine.
Oh yes, actually, we were working on some of that today. I found.
You can say the word "fug," F-U-G.
Actually, there's 9 words you're not supposed to say on.
What the fuck?
No, on FM radio.
Fudge.
It doesn't matter right now because a little box lit up red as soon as I said it, but I don't even know how it knows. It's just a little box that plugs in the outbound system. I have no idea how it knows what words.
It's got keywords. It's kind of like the FBI listening to your phone call.
In the old days, you had a guy that sat there with a little button that went wee.
So what does it do for someone showing their coochie, man? Does it edit that out too?
Yeah, no, unfortunately, there's no video editor yet. So
anyways,
there's no mysterious bloopy thing that comes
out.
As
far as I know, there's not.
How about like a little SpongeBob pops out and covers it?
You could edit it and put like a little round circle in there, or a little.
I want to see SpongeBob on there. You got to pay for that, don't you?
Yeah, SpongeBob.
That's a licensed figure. Joe,
how about Magilla Gorilla?
What's the craziest haunted experience you've ever had? See, I never get to ask you these questions because when we have you on, it's always about UFOs.
Bleed through. I want to hear you about the best bleed through story.
I don't know. There's been a couple of them, man.
You've told a lot, actually.
Yeah, there's been a couple of them. I couldn't, one of my favorites is we were down in the quarter. It was about 3:00 in the morning. I was down there with a friend of mine, and actually with 3 friends of mine. And there was 2 couples. We're just walking along, minding our own business. And I still remember Marie hits me aside and she said, "Wow, they must be a ball somewhere. Look at how these 3 women are dressed." And I looked over, and they're all in, like antebellum clothes. I didn't think nothing about it because every now and then they do have those reenactments in the city. So and then I realized I could see through to the jewelry store behind them. And it took me a minute or two to realize. So I turned around and I said, let's take a better look at it. Well, we were pretty buzzed. And so we all 4 turned around and we're looking and we watched them just strolling down the street, arm to arm, purses on one side, just strolling along. And they made it we were on, actually wasn't on Bourbon, we were on Royal, which seems to be having the most hauntings. And we watched them as they went to St. Anne and then they hooked a right and went down to Bourbon. We could watch them. We watched them. They dissipated right as they got to Bourbon. Because now the corner of St. Anne and Bourbon's where the gay part starts. From there down is all, everybody down there is gay. It's while the gay clubs are, it's while the gay people live. They got their own community down there. So, and they just kind of disappeared right there, just faded out. No one even thought, well, we didn't have cell phone cameras back then, so it didn't matter. But we did have cameras on them, but nobody even thought about pulling out a camera and trying to take a picture.
No, that was an effort before.
And we've seen them. Well, okay, phone, thank you. We've seen them like walking down on Canal. You'll watch and look at these ghosts, and they'll be just strolling down Canal, and lots of people have seen them, and they just stop and stand there for a minute. Well, when it's women, they're just taking a peek because they have these little channels that, that's how they did it back in the day. And it's just weird to hear, because it doesn't seem to be any hostility to it. It's probably just some kind of thing, rolling around. It just comes through every once in a while because, obviously these people think they're alive. I mean, they're just strolling on doing their thing. It's just, but for some reason, you see far more women than you do men. I never understood that. Maybe they were having more fun. Maybe the imprint was more.
Women are way more dramatic, so they're going to hang around.
I wasn't going to say dramatic. I was going to say emotional.
Dramatic.
It's not fair.
I'm not in trouble.
I'm not going to say men are emotional too, but women are more dramatic.
Not dramatic.
And that drama will hang you around.
Yeah, I'm not I don't do the drama thing, and you can't be in my circle if you do because it drives me crazy.
I would never compare you to any other woman.
Hi, Stone.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'll say hi to Stone. She got some ghosties going on in there.
Oh, wow. Hi.
Yeah.
So that's really crazy. Like you look and you're like, wait a minute, I can see right through them.
Yeah, but it's like the one we got on the camera on the Mini 8.
Mm-hmm.
When you first look at it, it just looks like a guy walking across. See, the problem with this picture is it could be a guy today or a guy 200 years ago. The boots, the jeans, I guess the cowboy hat. and flannel shirt.
Well, I've had a soldier manifest himself in front of me from the boots up and literally 15 feet away from me.
That was Michael in another life. Anyway, moving on.
No, he was a British soldier and he was in my backyard. And at the time I was a smoker, so I was having a cigarette outside and it was really late at night. I haven't smoked in 2 years. So I was
Good for
outside.
you.
Thank you. And I was having a cigarette and I was, of course, my espresso 10 a day. So I'm sitting there and it's about, I don't know, 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning. I don't stay out in the summer after that because the coyotes come in, even though it's a fence, it freaks me out. So I'm sitting there and I'm looking and my dog, of course, notices before me and he's barking and I'm freaking because I don't want him near this. And you just see the boots and then you can see, like the metal on the side of them. And then you see the buttons go up the pants and you start to see everything. And all of a sudden I get the big stereotypical get out in a British accent. I'm like, wait a minute, this is my backyard. This is my house.
Yeah,
But
in my backyard. You get out.
but I was
Right, take it
so
on down the road,
afraid.
man.
I was afraid of the dog. I was afraid he'd get hurt that I just I ran forward, scooped him up, and I could feel like cold wet on the side of me. And I ran inside the house like a baby. Seriously. That was the only time I was ever scared. If I'm by myself, I'm not afraid as much as if there's someone vulnerable like a dog or a child with me. That's when it bothers me because I have to protect them. But if it's just me, I'm fine.
How many psychics we've had run out of a place? Even Nicole that did that one where the woman got pushed down the stairs. We took her to the Erie Mansion, and it was where Bill Ely had lived, a serial killer, and the guy was a real piece of filth and just wealthy. Yeah. I mean, Clyde Glassworks heir to that fortune, and these guys back in the early 1900s had it all, and he killed a lot of prostitutes, and I guess dumped them in the Erie Canal.
Yeah.
We had Nicole in there. Nicole ran out of there so many times because he tried to latch on to her multiple times.
Yeah. That kind of stuff doesn't freak me out. It's when I have someone that I have to protect. That's when I get upset because it's like, how can I focus on, kicking back this energy right back at you if I have to worry about my daughter or my dog being hurt? So you want to throw that energy back and move away from it, but I wouldn't run.
You gotta surround them with that white light. Do the white light, man.
There's a lot of things that you can do. It depends on your faith and your belief.
I like
system.
The white light. It's visual.
You gotta do what works for you.
Joe's got Martha. He just whips out his 9mm.
That just goes right through, though.
He's got magic bullets. He told you about his magic bullets. He's got anti-paranormal bullets.
Yeah, y'all ain't met Janine yet, huh? Wait till y'all meet Janine, man.
I got a Hoover vacuum cleaner. Suck the spirits right up, man. Suck them up.
Ghostbusters.
I'm not really,
keep them in that bag, and they're out the garbage.
Oh my
I've been lucky growing up in a haunted city because I didn't really have that many bad ghost experiences. I really, until I got older and started sticking my nose where it didn't belong, I didn't really have that many experiences. When I go stay uptown with friends of mine, because the city itself is just haunted. Every house up there is freaking haunted by something.
Oh, yeah.
And so I go stay with them. Sometimes you'd hear things banging or moving around at night or stuff walking around. Because, the houses are, they're old and 200-300 years old.
Is that you tapping on your desk?
Yeah, as usual.
Is that a ghost? All you hear is boom,
that's
boom,
the ghost.
boom.
What's the most haunted? I know New Orleans is one of, but is it the most haunted? What's the most haunted city in the United States?
New York City is unbelievable.
I know
haunted.
New York. I've been to New York.
Try those housing projects in the Bronx and Brooklyn, man. Talk about suffering and
I had more paranormal activity in my hotel than I did when I was at the 9/11 memorial.
Yeah.
I was like, this is crazy. And Boston was insane. It was insane.
I know the dude who works at this hotel. He's like the head of security there. Not just for that, he's head of security and also the theater district. He tells me all these haunted stories because he has a hard time hiring security guards that will work in these places because they keep seeing ghosts and harassed by ghosts. But this one place is where Sid Vicious died, and they keep seeing him in the elevator. Also, I think Truman Capote or something like that almost also died. It was like a lot of these famous people died in that one hotel, and they keep seeing them. They'll see them around the way, and that's kind of interesting. You know?
Why hasn't anybody seen Hoffa's ghost?
Jimmy Hoffa?
Out there,
because the mafia is very thorough. That's why
he died peacefully.
They got rid of him and his spirit.
Okay. So on these 3 lists, New Orleans is listed as the most haunted city.
That's what I thought because
But it's not because of today. It's because of when the slave trade was going on.
Yes. All deep south, right? It's all very haunted.
All it is but that's all due to the slave trade. Because see, if you take in Mike's, because they used to have, what was the island where they used to bring the immigrants in, Mike, in New York? What was it called?
Ellis Island.
Was it Ellis? Okay.
Yeah.
So you had a lot of people come through there, but not many of them died. They died later on when they went other places.
No, that's not true. You know what? Because a lot of people showed up sick.
Some of them passed away on the ships.
Yeah, they got quarantined in a certain area in Ellis Island. I mean, think about all the stuff they had back then, and they died there. Elliot really freaking haunted that place, man.
And I think they leave New York out. Now, see, there's a 6th list that has New Orleans as the most haunted city in the United States, followed by Savannah, Georgia.
Savannah's gorgeous.
Then followed by St. Augustine, Florida, which is the oldest.
I would think Atlanta, man. You would think of that
for Gettysburg, but Atlanta back in the day wasn't anything. It's just a little shithole. These were all big cities back in the day.
These are old haunted. I'm talking about. It could be yesterday when someone died and they're haunting a place.
Yeah, but they're just what they're talking about. Now you get to Gettysburg, which is number 4. DC is number 5, which I find that hard to believe. But I'm not
with all those murders, like let's
Salem,
not go there.
Mass is number 6.
Yeah.
San Antonio, Texas is number 7, I guess, because of the massacre.
And we know about Gettysburg.
The whole state of Massachusetts is haunted. The whole state.
It's not just Gettysburg. It's also the skirmishes that happened around. Because Gettysburg only lasted for like a day. Right. It's the skirmishes that happened around it in the area.
Yeah, because you always hear paranormal investigators going, "Oh, because they've been there. That is the most active and haunted place." I'm like, I don't know. Like, I know it's very active, but I think other places. Yeah, I've heard a lot about Chicago, but DC is super haunted.
Yeah.
Well, I got a friend in India, and he chose the 10 most haunted places for me when I come visit after no one's sick anymore. But one of them is actually on a beach where tens of thousands of people had died. And they say if you walk down this beach, they will whisper in your ear, touch you. They'll keep touching you all over, man. I mean, like places like that. That's pretty wild.
That is such a spiritual.
Now, this list has New Orleans 9th. Let's see who they got first.
It's also what the place is built on.
Salem, Mass. I don't know why they keep it Salem on it.
Gettysburg, all that land. All that land in Gettysburg is full of salt. You know that, right? I mean, there's salt mines in this area that run all the way down to like North and South Carolina. So Cargill, the company that mainly hauls the salt, has rights to mine all the way down. So underneath, you go a quarter mile down or so, these are salt beds that go on and on and on and on. So think about quartz, salt, water movement, all that stuff. Of course, Gettysburg is going to be active like that.
Absolutely.
All the hills around, like a little north of Gettysburg, are all the residual hills that were pushed by the glaciers. So, like the Finger Lakes and all these lakes were glacier lakes. They were formed by glaciers. That's why they're so deep. They're like 600 feet deep. And then think about all that salt and all that stuff in those hills. Man, perfect environment for paranormal.
Well, Gettysburg, I think why people feel that it's so severely haunted is because even if you're a skeptic, you'll have some sort of experience there.
Yep. People see things.
I believe that's why. So there's more talk, right?
I have a theory on why, though. Want to hear my theory?
Yeah.
My theory is because they keep doing reenactments every year, and almost mocks them and brings that energy back and forth to where it keeps it current. Not letting them sleep.
Well, just like Joe said, in New Orleans, they do a lot of reenactments. With me, the battlefield park for the War of 1812 is just a few kilometers from my house, and they do the reenactment every year on June 5th. And I'm like, really? Like, I have to clear my entire perimeter every bloody year because they gather. And
you should go down there and yell at them. You know what I mean?
No, I've been to that.
How dare you?
It's really, it was one of the first places I went to when I moved to the city. And I will never forget how eerie it felt. I had a King Shepherd dog at the time, and well behaved, like trained for the police department, really, really well trained. So you could have him off leash and have him in the park. And I was freaking out because I was so uncomfortable there the first time. But, you know, this reenactment, I'm with you on that one.
Yeah.
It just brings them back here, even if they're making their way. It draws them in. That energy draws in all kinds of other things too. It's not just ghosts, you know.
And,
And
and it's not a memorial either. It's a reenactment of something terrible.
It is, and it's horrifying for the spirits. You think of it. If you're watching this and you're stuck in this time, you think that you're battling.
Yeah.
You're like, it's horrific. I think it's so selfish, to be honest with you. But, you know.
Just like 9/11. Imagine a reenactment of planes crashing into buildings, like the whole feeling.
Well, have
crumbling.
You been to the memorial?
No.
All they do is play.
I refuse to go.
I went because I wanted to help anybody that was stuck.
Yeah.
That's the only reason why I went through. I was there with my best friend and her daughter, and my daughter, it was like a graduation trip for her.
Yeah.
And I went through that memorial by myself. They had done it so many times. And all they do is play the phone recordings of these people making calls to their loved ones, and the 911. And I'm like hyperventilating, can't breathe, crying, going through this.
Right.
And I couldn't. I'm sorry for anyone who's listening. My heart goes out to you with this loss. I don't understand it. My heart breaks for all of you affected that day. It affected the entire world in some way, and I'm sorry for that. But this memorial is terrible. It's a business.
Yeah, it's horrible.
It's horrible.
That's why I refuse to go.
To constantly play that energy over and over again is not healing for anybody.
Right.
So I had a really hard time with it. The fact that they have the fire truck in there that was 6 blocks away and it's half melted. I'm looking at this going, this is horrific. And of course, like any good business, the minute you end the exhibit, you're right at you have to walk through the gift shop to get the hell out.
Right.
So I have a problem with that. What I do love is the fountain that they built at the base of the towers. There, I felt peace with that water running. I ran my hand across everybody's name. I was saying prayers, and I was just so moved by that. But the museum, I was horrified. I went into the gift shop. I go, what do you have here that goes back to the victims' families? Do you know, all they had was this one penny that I actually posted on my timeline that says 9/11. It was commissioned. 2 artists were commissioned to make these. And the money, the full proceeds, go back to the victims' families. And that's what it's supposed to generate there. But I think it's, in a spiritual sense, I just think it's so wrong on so many levels.
I have friends there died.
Because they don't have stuff there that goes back to them. That was the only thing they had.
My town lost 49 people, man. It's a hell of a lot for a small town.
I have friends who were first responders that day, firemen and police officers. And my cousin worked at the Pentagon. That plane went through his office, and it's just, even though I'm in Canada, I do, my mom's entire side is in New York State.
Yeah.
But it's just horrifying. And I believe reenactments and things like this are not benefiting anyone. So forgive me if I've offended anyone. Please forgive me. I don't understand it.
Maybe they need to be offended. Maybe they need to understand that there's an obscenity going on with all of this. When
I saw the amount of money, don't like it. A lot of the families are against it.
They spent tens of millions on these blocks that they were putting out, these blocks of rocks, that in this garden that's out there to represent some of the BS. Come on, man. Those families, there's people that need that.
Yeah, but they also money. Have
a lot of people that they abandoned, but I lost friends. One guy, I lost a guy that went to kindergarten with.
Oh, wow.
Nicest guy in the world, too. Was such a sweet person, and man, boom, there he is, gone. He had two little kids, 2 and 3 years old, dead. For what?
Yeah. That's a whole other show.
So, we always talk about Gettysburg, going Gettysburg to do it, but people forget the War of 1812. Technically, the War of 1814 was fought in New Orleans. And there's quite a few people died on that battlefield. And it's only 3 miles outside the city, so you get the benefit of both. So you get the battlefield, to go see. You get the city itself to go see. Then you get all the weird swamp stuff, all the people, weird stuff in the swamp that goes on. Plus a couple other very haunted cities outside of New Orleans. But you
All
know,
of Louisiana,
there was
right?
only 13 Americans killed in that battle. That was it, and
You're
30
kidding.
wounded. No, that was it. They
Wow.
killed over 2,000 Brits, wounded more than 12,000 or 1,200. I'm sorry, and took 500 prisoners.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a strange little thing back in the day, but a lot of British died on that. Then there's that one. Then there's another one that went through the swamp where there was a lot of people lost a lot of Americans, I should say, a lot of Yankees lost their lives eaten by alligators because they tried crossing through the wrong swamp.
Oh, and they have no knowledge back then and
Yeah,
no
so well, no, they didn't. Well,
experience.
they didn't know where they were going,
No,
and then
that's
all
sad.
and see, and that's what people up north forget. Most of the battles that were fought on the skirmish lines right at the Dixie line, but most of them were fought in the South. So that's
Yes.
where most of the ghosts and all are going to be. That's where most of the Yankees died. That's where most of the Confederates died. That's where they
Yeah.
died. And there's a one. What I'd like to do is do an investigation in Chalmette, but there's one. It's right outside of Mobile, Alabama. I stumbled across it by accident. I was going somewhere and I seen this park, so I just turned in there. And there's 4 different skirmish lines inside this park. There was also a hanging tree. There was a jail. The place is probably extremely haunted. Besides that, even if it's not, they got beautiful cabins with beautiful water view, with beautiful skies, and deer all walking through the park. So you'll enjoy yourself any way it goes. But I got some really. I haven't been out back there at night because you got to stay to go in there at night. But I've had some really weird feelings walking around in that park. And there's certain places you go, like where the old house used to be, probably where the captain lived. That place
Mm.
feels haunted. Just 2 big oak trees, and then there's the hanging oak tree, which is huge today. It's got to be a 300-year oak tree. From what they say, more than 500 people were hung from that tree.
I know
Yeah,
people have been to Auschwitz, man. They say it's so
Oh, I
probably,
unbelievably heavy
I
but it's
can't
that
going to
do
get
that.
tore down. So
I don't understand it. I don't understand why people go there. That's just me. When there's something like that, I don't want to see it. Um,
well, the new government's talking about tearing it down, just like America's talking about tearing down Alcatraz and the other prison. I can't think of the other one right now. 2 major ones.
if they
Uh,
don't tear down Alcatraz, it's going to end up like Puglia, the island off the coast of Italy. That's all ash. Like, there's, I understand that, but it's not going to change. There's still going to be spirits there. What are they going to do when they
well,
tear
I'm
they're gonna
down
surprised
they're
some
gonna
Alcatraz?
rich person
they're
hasn't
gonna
tried
build
to buy it.
condos there is what they'll
Oh,
That's
do.
I
probably what's
wouldn't
going to
live
happen.
there.
Mike's right. That's probably what's going to
Live
happen.
there.
Somebody's going to
Yeah.
probably they're going to tear it down. Somebody's going to develop the place
Oh yeah,
and develop it out. It'd be like the Poltergeist movie. They're just it's just what it's going to end up being. And
Yeah,
it's not
but
the
it's
only
still
place
going to
because
be haunted.
every now and then I find these graveyards, these big, massive graveyards, and all of a sudden, right
Yeah.
across the street from the graveyard is a subdivision, which makes me think the graveyard used to extend back further.
Oh, yes.
So there's no doubt now. The law was, I think it was passed in '69 or '79, that you have to move the graves. You can develop graveyard property, but you have to move the
But
graves.
some builders only
And
move the
some builders,
headstones.
yeah, and some do. So now they got
Yeah,
actually people that go out with poles and test now. I
that
think
was
they
the
got
basis of
radar now.
Poltergeist, man.
it was.
Yeah.
Yes, it was.
It
Yeah,
was. That's what it was.
Yeah.
But that did happen in California. I'm sure it happened down here in
It's
Louisiana.
happened in a lot of places. If you
Well,
watch the History Channel, you'll see it. You can
so
Google that as
the
well.
Superdome was built on an old Indian burial ground, and they had nothing but bad luck. They finally brought this old Indian chief in
Hi,
there,
Julia.
and they got him to do some kind of chant, and then all of a sudden there was no more voodoo, and the Saints started winning. They've been winning
Yeah.
ever since.
And
I was like, whoa, maybe it was real. Who knows for sure?
one of
Hello,
our
Miss Sarkeesian.
co-hosts, Julia, is here, and she lives in a haunted home. She's
oh,
gone through. Her and Phil have gone through years and years of
Well, I got this house,
trauma.
and maybe now that maybe I can bring something in. But what's weird about this place is, okay, so we moved here. The first year we was living here, it got underwater salt 2 feet deep.
Hmm.
Third year, about 4 feet deep. Last year, it was 9 feet of salt water completely underneath my house for a whole day.
Yeah,
This
you're
just
safe.
just a couple of days ago doing Ida, there was 3 foot of salt water underneath my house.
I
So
think you're safe,
yeah,
John.
so if they either get stuck here, if they try to get out, they get burned. So, and I imagine there's so much salt content in the grass and everything around it now that as a ghosting.
If the
But my wife used to say when we first moved in this place, it felt like maybe the guy who had it, he had passed away suddenly, and his wife just woke up in the morning and he was gone, and he
oh,
was They own 2 restaurants downtown. They had all kind of stuff going on, and this was his baby. He had just got through remodeling this camp, and he passed. So I said maybe because Linda said, "Well, the house doesn't seem to like you." I broke a finger here walking around a corner. I caught the corner one night and broke 2 ribs. Had a bruise that's freaking been around for weeks. Broke a finger opening a jar of jelly. I broke a middle finger. I went to the doctor's. My bones bad. He said, "No, I don't know how the hell you did that." And I'm like, really? I mean, just there's into which, and then all of a sudden it seemed to calm down and go away. And then, like I said, we get indulged in salt water every so often. It's a little weirder than that, though. Some days, if the water's coming, if the rain's coming after golf, you can go stand outside and actually smell the salt in the air. So
That's
it's
good
not,
though.
yeah,
You
it's
can
not
walk
just at
on
the house.
water.
That's what I'm
There
saying.
you
It's
go.
not just the house being, it's the whole house is being inundated with it. I
Yeah.
wish I'd get rid of my termites before it eats my house up. But other than that, anybody
You
got a good
know,
termite guy?
when I first built this house and moved in, I thought I was losing my mind because I went from working full time to not working and trying to put a house together, and I was so young, and I had all the elements of Amityville going on in my house, less
Oh,
the bleeding walls. Like, it was ridiculous. I had priests that would come in the front door but wouldn't walk past that point. I'm like, are you serious? He's like, no, I can bless it from
Wendy,
here. And
like
he's
me,
throwing
we get in a new
holy
house,
water from the
baby.
front door. No, it's fine now. Things have been cleared, and you have to keep up with it. It's not just something that goes away and stays away, especially when I'm living in it, because I'm constantly working. So I'm opening things up, but I'm trying to be, aware of what I'm doing and make sure that I close all doors after that. But there's things that slide through. It happens.
And Linda always likes to. She's got a couple of. She usually puts something over the front door, something over the back door. And this house
Yes.
isn't feng shui because our front and back doors aren't aligned with each other.
Yeah,
And
neither are mine.
the only place we have a long hallway, there's a mirror at the end of it. So it's kind of whoever had designed it probably had a little weirdness going on in their own life because it's really more designed to be not so spooky, I guess I should say. But then you go sit out on the porch at night, and God knows what's flying over your head
Oh
24/7.
yeah, absolutely,
Jesus,
especially where you live. And there's been such great atrocities and loss of life there. I
oh
would
yeah, there's been a
imagine
lot
it's
around
it's
here.
full. Yeah.
There's definitely been a lot around here. It's
Hmm.
well, Hurricane Camille killed a few thousand people along the coast. Every storm that comes through here kills a few people. What's funny though, I shouldn't say funny. What's sad is Ida came through and killed 2 people in Louisiana. Smacked the city as a class 3, hit the coast as class 4. Got up to New York as a
Oh
tropical
yeah.
storm, killed 50 people.
Yep.
I am so
Yeah.
worried about New York. And New Yorkers, I love y'all, but look, guys, y'all are starting to worry me. Sandy came up there class 2. We take our kids swimming in that. You almost lost your city over it. Jesus
Well, they're
Christ,
not built
class
for
four,
it, and they're
class
not
five,
prepared for
but they
it.
need
That's
to
why.
because they're saying now that New York's going to experience a class 4 or class 5 in the next few
Well,
years.
we had the
There won't be no
the
more New York.
no, we had the remnants of that storm, and people lost their houses after that. And it was 2 days after New York City, because New York got it on the weekend, and Sunday night into Monday, all of southern Ontario got rammed up into northern Ontario, which is a good stretch. But I believe it's because it's so open, it just picked up speed and kept going.
I'm
But
just worried. I got a lot of friends that live in New York City itself, and
yeah, well, I
it
have a
just
whole
seems like
family there.
it seems to be getting a little worse each year. And now it seems like they're starting to experience it more and more and more and more. They're starting to get weather like we get, and it's
Oh,
not a city they
climate
can
global
plan
change.
for.
warming.
Global warming,
Yeah,
exactly. Climate
it's
change. It's what's happening.
but
Before you know it, it'll be snowing in Louisiana.
oh, it did 5 years. Every other year for 8 years, it did.
Didn't it
Actually,
snow in Vegas last year?
where
Isn't
I
that
live right
crazy?
here,
Yeah.
it's actually since I bought
Vegas
this house.
gets no. Vegas gets snow once in a while.
Yeah, they do
Yeah.
once in a while.
They
But
get a
where I'm
couple
living
inches a
down
year.
now, I
Oh,
got seven.
please.
I got 4 years of snow in 7 years. I
You want
lived
to
in
talk about
Louisiana 50 years. Got it once every 10 years.
fires though? Man, the whole
Oh,
California is on
wow.
fire.
That is so
Tahoe.
sad.
I mean, look.
I feel
Imagine what are the areas are burning bigger than like Houston. They said
well,
gigantic.
Burn,
they're
baby, burn.
protecting Sequoia right now, and
Yeah,
I feel for those firefighters. My God,
yeah.
I pray for them. Those guys are fierce warriors going out there.
Yeah, and it's not going to get any better because it's all hot and dry, windy, and so that's it.
Guys,
That's
we
all
got
you really need.
2 minutes, so y'all better tell everybody you love them and you want to have their babies and their
Well,
alien babies
that
and
door's
all that
closed
good
for
stuff.
me.
Alien babies, no. Alien babies, look, you could be barren and have alien babies, honey.
I'm not going to raise an alien
Michael could
baby.
have an alien baby, for as I know. Look.
I want my ship to come take me back to my freaking planet so I can get the hell out of here already. Jesus Christ. I'll come get you, Amelia. We'll go.
We're on
With
vacation.
pizza.
Didn't y'all know
come
this
around by.
this is like the Gray's #2 vacation place they like to come hang out?
New Orleans?
No, the world itself.
Oh.
They think humans are so much fun to watch because we're such dumbasses. Oh, look, they're playing with nuclear weapons. Ha ha! Look at that. We're gonna go blow themselves
Boy,
up.
they're crazy.
It's well, I mean, somebody, I was talking with somebody. I was actually talking with some very educated people the other day, which is nice for a change. And
Thanks, Joe.
no.
Right, Michael? Thanks.
No. Present company excluded.
Okay.
So finally, I'm talking. We're chit chatting back and forth. And the guy looks. He said, "I know you do UFO stuff. And he's this guy, multi-millionaire." He goes, "Why would they want to come here?" And I looked up at him and I said, "Why do you go sit on the balcony at Bourbon Street?" He said, "Because it's fun." I said, "Well." He looked at me like, "No way." I said, "Yeah, dude." I said, "Why?" I said, "You think they don't have any fun? They're not enjoying the universe? I mean, come on. If you were an advanced race and you were passing by this big blue ball and you see what was going on here, yeah, you'd love it, man. It's like opera all over the place." Especially if you like drama. Jesus, it's the drama.
Let me tell you, man, in the clubs in the city, there were people that you swear are aliens, swear it, so they're coming, they're partying.
Since we own that, and I know we got like a minute, but so out there where you've been thinking about moving, they talk about the tall. So Charles Hall started this, but they talk about the tall whites. They're anywhere from 7 to 9 feet tall. So when he first told me they used to go gambling at the casino, I laughed because I'm like, really? Come on, dude.
Get out.
Especially the way he said they look. So
No
I put
way.
this out. I put this out on the radio. Didn't get an immediate response. I was on Coast to Coast when I put it out again. And then 2 weeks later, I did a show. And all of a sudden, out of the blue, I had 2 state troopers call me. I was like, what? And then, so I didn't have a chance. I couldn't call him back. So I was calling. And I seen the phone from Vegas ring. So it was a cab driver. Actually, it was a limo driver. He didn't appreciate me calling him a cab driver, by the way. But anyway, he was telling me about these guys and girls that would come in. He said they were tall, at least 7 feet tall. He said their skin was really white, like white, not like white people white, but just like paper white.
Like
he
Irish.
Talked about them. He said they were weird, and they were. He said they tipped really well, so that was interesting to hear. But he took them casino hopping. He took them. He said he had done it more than once. A couple of weeks later, I get another call from another gentleman who worked at one of the casinos telling me about it. 2 days after that, I get a security officer.
Oh, you're cracking my ear. Yeah.
I'm sorry. It's habit. And so he tells me about what he sees. So finally, I get hold of both the state troopers, who, by the way, worked the casino, and they were telling me about these 2 casinos where these things frequent. And I'm like, no. He said, no, I'm telling you. So in less than 2 weeks, I had 5 different people call me, because I honestly thought when Charles Hall told me about these, I thought, man, maybe it's just a figment of his imagination. Maybe he thought it was real, because some people believe something's really, really real, but then it doesn't always turn out to be real. I said maybe that's what it is. But after getting 5 witnesses, and to date now I've had 11 witnesses come forward, which for a new alien species is hardly nothing compared to the Greys, reptilians, or humans. But I mean, there's literally thousands of people come forward about them. But still, 11 different people, all that live in Vegas, all that either work in the casinos or are there on a regular basis, said they seen them. And I was like, okay. And all the times I was talking about this, I wasn't talking about Charles Hall's story, which didn't get the kind of attention it should have. He was an officer. He was a weather person, and he was stationed at Area 53, which is 2 valleys over from Area 51. And he said that's where they were kept. They stayed there. They had their own little base there inside of a cleaned out cave. He said that's where they kept the ships. He said they came and went on a regular basis. So finally, about what is this, 2019, I had a general call me, retired, and told me the whole story. And he told me the exact same story that Charles Hall did, except with the pieces that Charles Hall didn't have. So I thought it was interesting. Told me how to write a book. I'd be one helping with it. He said, no. He said, I just knew you were working this case, and I wanted to fill in the missing pieces for you. Thank you. You never hear from me again, and I haven't.
Wow.
I was like, okay. Which was nice. I did authenticate who he said he was, so that was cool. And since it was a video call, it was what I call him on whatever on the Apple phones, what they call them, FaceTime. So it was that kind of call, so I could see who he was, and we talked for a while. So there's no doubt he is who he was, and why he had the need to help me with this was beyond me. But every now and then, somebody in the government or the military feels sorry for me and throws me a bone, so that's kind of nice. That's why I don't really worry about it. But it was interesting to hear. But I know we got to go, so y'all be sure to catch Michael on Tuesday and Thursdays. Catch Amelia on Wednesdays and Thursdays. Catch me. Well, now that I'm back, you catch me on Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays,
Every
and
day.
Saturdays. Yes, there we go. Fridays and Saturdays. Well, Michelle snaps the whip on me sometimes, so I got to watch it. But if y'all don't know who Michelle is, I'm sure you'll find out soon enough. No, we do.
Oh,
We
I
do the
think they
Gray
know.
Zone. We
Yeah.
do the Gray Zone Uncensored on Saturday, which I've only. Matter of fact, that was the first show I did coming back after surgery. We missed it this Saturday because I got stuck in anyway.
Yeah, the flood.
Actually, I wanted to get on the phone and do it from a damn phone, but since I was at a restaurant, I didn't think it was a good idea. I hate missing shows. I always do. But anyway, y'all can catch us on all those days. We're always around doing something interesting. Amelia and Michelle always have good guests on the Outer Realm, so be sure to come check it by. Michael's always got
Check
something
us
good he's
out.
talking on, and God knows what I'm talking about from day to day. We do soon. We will have a political show coming up soon because we are past due for one.
Oh, we're having a
Frankly,
political night.
frankly, we got to talk about what's going up with the Canucks and what's
Oh,
happening up
we
there.
won't have any answers for 4 more days. We need the mail-in votes.
And then we got a couple things we got to talk about down here, and then there's been some developments with the COVID, and all these doctors coming out. So anyway, we'll get into all of that. Whether you believe it or not, it's always best to hear and check it out for yourself, because I've just been hearing things the last week or so, the last 10 days that really bother me. So, but we'll get into all of that, and we got to verify what's true, what's not true, what's myth, what's not myth, and what's actually real. But on that note, we're going to get ahead. Coming up next is the Horsefly Chronicles with Philip and Julia Saquet. So I just said her name.
Siracusa.
I know I just said it a minute ago perfectly.
Siracusa. Yeah.
Yeah. And anyway,
Who was that? What was it?
It was some people that are on the radio network. How's that? Anyway, Horsefly Chronicles coming up with Julie and Phil. Y'all be sure to check
Are they still on the air?
Yeah, they still on the air. What? You're just rude, man.
Who are those
here.
other ones? I don't know. I'm lost in all this, man.
Michael don't know who's who anymore.
All I can do is think about how amazing Amelia is.